Namaskar, this is Pia Jyoti Kachru, and today on Face to Face, it's an honor to have with us Annette Philip. Annette is a musician and innovator and influencer, a versatile vocalist hailing from Kerala, India. She is known for her dense choral arrangements, for concept-driven productions, and for delivering on big dreams. A seasoned recording and touring artist, composer, pianist, and voiceover professional. She is a judge and vocal consultant on the Emmy-winning American TV choral contest Sing That Thing on PBS. Among her various accolades are Woman of the Year in 2016 from India New England Foundation and Artist of the Year in 2018 from the New England Choice Awards for her work as a musical impresario and thought leader. A faculty member at Berkeley College of Music since 2010, Annette is the founder and director of the Berkeley Indian Ensemble, a viral phenomenon with close to 200 million views of its videos to date. And today we will be talking to Annette about their debut album, Shuruaat, which is being submitted for the Grammys 2023, which has 98 musicians from 39 countries. So let me welcome Annette to ITV Gold.
Thank you so much. So great to be here, Pia.
Same here. So, I would say definitely, wow, where do I begin? I was mesmerized by the melody and magic from the collection, which is out there on YouTube. So please, can you give our viewers more detailed background on who is Annette Philip?
Well, I am someone who's really obsessed with sound. I think that's the easiest way to describe who I am. And I really believe in the power of collective action. And I've found that every project that I've done in my professional career has always been centered around sound and around creating sound with multiple people. So as a young person, I got into music at a very early age. I realized my passion, and I felt like this is a no-brainer. This has to be the way that life goes, and what I spend time in. I trained in piano, trumpet, recorder, and also trained myself as a vocalist, and started a performing arts group in India called Artists Unlimited, and went on to become one of the largest performing arts collectives in the city, in Delhi at the time, and eventually, needed more exposure and things like that. I was also a full-time recording artist doing jingles and voiceovers for many channels and many organizations, and looked for some more exposure, and then eventually went to Berkeley, thinking I would be there for maybe a semester or two. And life is kind of surprising, that it brings you lots of different opportunities and opens up different pathways. And before I graduated from Berkeley, I was offered a faculty position, and that's when the idea for creating the Berkeley Indian Ensemble came about. And besides what I do at Berkeley, I tour a lot. I still spend a lot of time recording, and I'm a session musician, and tour the world also with my a cappella quartet called Women of the World. And yeah, basically, music every day, all day. And
I can, when I heard the YouTube video, I can see that. It's like music everywhere, and it's beautiful. It's very soulful. So, you are talking about Berkeley. So let's, tell our viewers a little bit more about the Berkeley College of Music and its rich heritage and history.
So Berklee College of Music was set up about 75 years ago, and it's the preeminent college for contemporary music. So have campuses now, not just in Boston, but in New York, in Spain, Valencia, Spain. We have a center in Abu Dhabi, and we also have the world's largest online music college. And there are musicians just within the Boston campus, which is where I was based for several years. probably musicians from about 105 countries or more. And we, of course, offer both undergraduate and graduate programs. I think for me, the best part about Berkeley was that it gave me this opportunity to bring Indian and South Asian culture and music to the curriculum and also to the community here. And I love the fact that a place like Berkeley exists. When I got here, my first week that I was here initially as a student, I remember calling my parents and telling them this is like an alternate dimension because there's just music from every part of the world that you can't even imagine. There's just so much variety and diversity in this place, and the fact that the college is very open to different ideas. And I think if you have not only a good idea, but if you have the resolve and the gumption to kind of push through and make it happen, this is the kind of place that anything is possible. And so I very much appreciate that about Berkeley and the Berkeley culture.
So, talking about this Berkeley India exchange. So, can you just let us know a little bit about like how did it come into being?
So in 2011, I founded the Berkeley Indian Ensemble, and it was a first of its kind class that was set up with a vision of allowing musicians from any culture and any musical background to perform in, explore, and express themselves within the idiom of Indian music in all its forms. So classical, semi-classical, folk, Sufi, contemporary, all those to be included. Eventually, about, I would say, 2 years into the ensemble being a force at the college, we realized that there was such a demand for Indian art and culture and South Asian ideology that comes through in the creative arts, that we decided to create an institute, and that institute's name is Berkeley India Exchange. It now has expanded in a huge way. We have 3 different pillars. One, of course, is education, under which we have several things, including teacher training, scholarships, workshops around the world, and of course, the Berkeley Indian Ensemble, which has now moved into our second pillar, which is our innovation and industry pillar. And now the Berkeley Indian Ensemble is a professional touring entity. It is no longer an academic class. And our third pillar is our community wing, which is not only about creating community and connecting people, to the Berkeley community, or let's say connecting the Indian diaspora through the music that we're doing, but also looking at how music and the work that we do can serve our community. And that may be in the form of music and mental health work. It could be in terms of parent counseling, student support, things like that. So as you can see, it's a very wide swath of things that the Berkeley India Exchange does. We're now a team of 11 people who run the organization. It's primarily self-funded through philanthropy and also through, the work that we do. It's not funded by the college. And so I think a lot of people are often surprised about that. But it is really treated like a startup at the college, and we're excited to see what else we can do.
Absolutely. And, I think, I was reading that you have like 10 plus years of journey at Berkeley India Exchange. So do you have any, you want to share with us any of the best memories you have?
Oh my goodness, there's too many to choose from. I think sometimes it's the small things that really stay with you. Just yesterday, actually, one of my colleagues who has actually taken over the class. The class is now called the South Asian Ensemble. And because the Berkeley Indian Ensemble, as I mentioned, is the touring entity. So I was kind of overwhelmed. There were lots of things happening. We have 3 shows coming up, and I had just written to this colleague of mine. He's from Israel. His name is Yoel Genin. And I said, I'm kind of working on this, that, and I asked him for some help for one element. and he said, you're doing a lot right now. Do you need something, or since you're in Boston today, because I now live in New York. Since you're in Boston today, and you're sounding a little low, you're sounding a little overwhelmed. You want to come over? We can do some work, but I'll cook for you, and we'll get work done, and don't worry about it. But like you have, mikasa sukasa, my home is your home. So and that's just an incident. That's one incident from yesterday, and I didn't have the time to go to Yoel's house, but I bring that up because I think one of my favorite things about both the Institute Berkeley India Exchange and the ensemble is that we really are such a family, and there's so much nurturing that happens within this group, and I think that is one of the most important things in any organization, and it's hard to come by. You can't manufacture that. It really has to come from within. And I think for me that is one of the most important things. If you can create an organization where people are caring about each other and they try to be kind to each other and they nurture and nourish each other, I think that is one of the biggest gifts of all. And again, it comes from the culture that you inculcate the entire organization with, from one end to the other. It seeps into everything that you're doing. So for me, that's probably one of the best things of the last decade with this.
So, Annette, let's talk about this new album, which is like your debut album, which has been nominated for Grammy 2023, and it's called Shuruaat. So, you tell me, ये शुरुआत की शुरुआत कैसे हुई?
Well, we had a viral video way back in 2014. It was our reinterpretation of A.R. Rahman's song Jia Jale. And when that went viral, I think it was the first time that we began to think of what the possibilities would be. And so I would say the seed was sown around that time, 2014, 2015. And the only thing was that we were told by many people that it might be a little bit hard to procure the rights and also figure out how to administer, the revenues, and it's so many different layers that are involved with a project when you want to release it commercially. And so during the pandemic, while it was a difficult period for all of us, it was also a time for people to reflect on what was really important. And we were just about to hit our 10-year anniversary, and we decided now is the time. And, we're in a pandemic. We can't do any live shows. We can't do any live productions. Let's use this time to try and procure the rights. Let's do the hard work to write contracts. Let's try to record a few more songs and see if we can release a debut album. And it took us 2.5 years to get just the rights and the legal aspects covered. These are things that most people will not think about, but I think it's so important for musicians and artists of any discipline to realize that yes, you have to do things according to protocol. You have to make sure that all your respective collaborators are honored and taken care of in the right way, and that you get everything in writing so that everyone's rights are protected. And so after 2.5 years, we finally have it. The Shuruaat album is not only a celebration of the first decade, but it also gives a glimpse into the future of the Berkeley Indian Ensemble, in terms of our sound and in terms of the professional entity that represents the college and is out there doing exciting work, innovative work in the world. It includes 10 songs, multiple genres, not just within Indian music, but also progressive rock, jazz, gospel and choral elements, Middle Eastern flavors, etc. And we also have a plethora of collaborations with Ustad Zakir Hussain on tabla, and amazing vocalists Shreya Ghoshal, Shankar Mahadevan, Vijay Prakash, and the amazing band Shadow and Light, which is a contemporary classical duo. We have originals, we have reinterpretations, we have tributes to Shakti and Remember Shakti, and language wise, it incorporates Urdu, Tamil, Hindi, Bengali, Sanskrit, and even scat syllables. So it's really a celebration. There are 98 musicians from 39 countries and approximately a total of about almost 200 people who've been involved in the production, the behind the scenes work. So it's taken a village to bring this project to life.
You know, Annette, I have to say that your collection, especially in this Berkeley India Exchange, it's very rich, especially with renowned artists and performers. So tell me, how did you select, its 10 tracks?
To choose the 10 songs, we had to think both from a logistical perspective as well as a musical perspective. So I'll take the music part first because that was, for us the most fun. Mm-hmm. We definitely wanted to include original music, and we are delighted that we have 4 originals. One by Dhruv Goel, who's from Lucknow. One by Sashank Navaladi, who's from Delhi and Hyderabad. One from Armin Musa, who's from Bangladesh. And one from Sharon Renaud, who's from Switzerland. Besides that, as I mentioned, the collaborations, we wanted to make sure we had some, insight into the journey that we've taken over the last 10 years. So the pieces in tribute to Shakti and Remember Shakti, of course, some pieces from our other repertoire, which traverses Indian classical and semi-classical. And it was a lot of fun trying to pick which songs, but ultimately we also had to make sure that we were able to collaborate with Sony Music India. That was the catalog that we decided to work with primarily, and so a combination of the logistical side, the rights, and the musical intent is how we chose the 10 songs.
Wonderful. So, you definitely have worked with all these maestros, starting from Shankar Mahadevan, Shreya Ghoshal, A.R. Rahman, and others. So, tell me, how was it? Was it difficult working with them, or was it like easy?
Well, I think any collaboration, no matter who you're working with, requires you to put in time and love and energy and discipline and hard work to make sure that you're honoring the collaboration and you're honoring the intent that they may have when they're coming into this partnership. In all cases, we've had an amazing, just experience with these wonderful musicians. We take sometimes up to a year to work on the repertoire that we will present in a joint concert and in any joint venture. We also deconstruct the compositions, and so there's always a chance that a visiting artist may not like your interpretation, but we've been very fortunate that they've seen the love and the care and the honor that has been brought to these collaborations, and they have not only embraced our versions of these songs, but they have also worked really hard. I have to mention Shreya Ghoshal. We took one of her pieces and we really, deconstructed it, reinterpreted it in many different ways. And she was so wonderful to rehearse with, and she wanted to, practice these pieces many times so that she and we both felt really comfortable with it. And we're so grateful. Artists of this kind of stature are so humble and so much about the craft. I would say the same thing about Vijay Prakash. He was not only, of course, just incredible as a collaborator, but so willing to perform on one of the originals, Sashank Navaladi's original Arze Niyaz, which uses the poetry of Mirza Ghalib, is in Urdu, and Vijayji was so willing to be featured on an original, and he worked for hours and hours on the Urdu pronunciation, and that again, just two examples of how wonderful it's been to collaborate with these iconic artists.
Absolutely. And as I said earlier, it definitely is a treat to the eyes to see it. Everybody has to see it to believe it. So now is the climax question, getting nominated for the Grammys. So how does it feel for you and your ensemble?
Well, it's a delight. It's an honor. We're so humbled. We're so grateful for everyone in the Recording Academy who considered us for this honor. And we're also so happy that we are in such august company. We're in the category of Best Global Music Album. And for it to be our first submission and to receive a nomination the very first time we submitted is really, really humbling and really exciting as well. I think for most of us, it hasn't quite sunk in. And, we're grateful to be in the same category as some of our heroes like Anushka Shankar and Angelique Kidjo and, just amazing people, Maksat Takumi and Burna Boy. So, for us to be there and for us to be there with a project of this magnitude in terms of the sheer number of people involved, just on the performance side with 98 musicians. There aren't that many projects that include these many individual, collaborators. And so, yeah, we're just excited and we're hoping for great news in February at the Grammys when the ceremony happens.
Absolutely. Even I'm waiting to hear for this kind of great news. So, as I said earlier, listening to it, watching it on YouTube, it definitely is a treat for the eyes, ears, mind, and soul. And I'm sure you definitely will win. So tell me what's next.
Well, we have a few events happening right now just before the Grammy voting begins again. We're just trying to spread the word as much as we can. We're also embarking on many tours in 2023. So March and April, we will be touring Pan USA. Hopefully, we're in Europe in the summer, and then probably November, December time, we will be in India and Asia. And we're also already thinking of album number 2.
Wow.
Why not? It will very likely be an all original album. And just excited with the ensemble to do this kind of work, but also with Berkeley India Exchange, the Institute. We have plenty of other plans. There will be more shows, more workshops, more scholarships, more outreach work, also work on music and mental health, as I mentioned, and making sure that the South Asian population at Berkeley is also well connected and well supported. So there's many, many different things. We're definitely in empire expansion mode, and we're so excited to see what the future holds.
And you know what, Annette, I'm really, wishing you all the best for the Grammys, and thank you so much for your time today, and once again, wishing you all the best.
Thank you so much, Pia, and so grateful to everyone at ITV Gold, and thank you for making time for us.
Thank you.